Hey everybody, I hope everyone is having a great Saturday. We made it to yet another weekend. I am so glad that you're here. This is going to be a fun class where we are actually going to further develop the portrait. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So right now we have Mr. Steven. How are you today? Great to see you all the way from the UK. And Colette, how are you? Great to see you. How's everything? All the way from Wisconsin. So, very cool. I'm so glad you're both here. And so, what I was thinking of doing was actually trying Frisket. Since it's board, anything goes, right? We could use Frisket. We can do a lot of things to preserve this edge. But I think, just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to start working with the black and just slowly build that up, right? So, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Steve. Thank you. So I'm going to look for, because it's really dark, but I'm not going to put down the black first because I see there's some other lighter colors. So I'm going to put them on there before I put in the black. I think that would be pretty cool. So over here, let me see if I can move me out of the way. Over here, okay. So over here on the bottom here, I can see that there's this like really beautiful rich brown color. And I'm just going to zoom in and see what brown that is. So it's kind of a lighter brown, and I'm just going to look for that. And so I'm going to go with this color right now, and I can always lighten it up as I go. But right now I'm just going to try and hit those lighter colors, so this way I don't have to fight the black when I come in with the darker color of the hair, right? So I may go ahead, and this color right here is by Pit Pastel, and it's 179. Hey, Mr. Garcia, how are you? Great to see you, my friend. How's everything? So glad you are here. So right now I am just coming in with this this really nice brown that we see kind of just poking out from the black of her hair, right? It's really the photograph and everything like that. So there's a little more red in that color. So, you know, I'm actually just going to go ahead and glaze a little bit of red here. And by glazing those two colors together, I'm going to arrive at the color. I don't necessarily look for the right color. I just sort of arrive at the color. And I think that's the best way to do it, is arrive with a series of glazes to get to the color, because then you can say little warm, little cool, little more gray, little more saturation, those kind of things. Ah, yes, definitely, Chris, definitely. I'm so glad you're out there fighting crime, my friend. Hey, JC, great to see you. How are you, sir? And as you can see, just hitting a little bit of that brownish color right over here as well. First I'll put the red, then I can put the brown. And then we're going to come down here. I'm going to see where else is that brownish color, and I can see it definitely is over here. And then right here we have a little bit of that brownish color, a little bit of that brownish accent up here, and even a little bit of that brownish color right here, which is the cast shadow of the hair onto her forehead right there. And just put that there. And so cool everyone is here. I'm so glad to see everybody. Alright, so now what I'm seeing is a nice gray, and it's a very light gray, and it's a cool gray. So I'm going to start putting that cool gray right over here, sort of setting that up. But there's a much darker gray along this area here. So I'm going to actually glaze that. I'm going to put this here first and sort of glaze them together. Just like so. Yeah, JC, I'm not sure, you know. But, you know, whoever's here is supposed to be here, so I'm glad you all are here. This way, we can make it like a small class. If it's hardly anyone here, you guys could ask any questions you want, and we can make it a small class, which is really cool. So it's to your advantage, and which is nice. So as you can see, I'm just coming in and just getting this nice gray here. So this way we can set up for those darker colors. And glazing those two colors until I get the value. And it's interesting because there's some brown over here. So I'm actually going to come over here and I'm going to glaze with this one color, which is 179, into this here. There's a lot of brown in this color here. Exactly, like the one-on-one class. Exactly, that's so true. So as you can see, as I'm building that up with these colors, now when I'm pastel painting, I'll put these colors off to the side, right? And then this way I know I have them, and then I can come in with the darker colors. So I'm going to look for black, and here it is. So we're going to try and keep this edge really sharp. So this is time for our glasses, right? No, because we're working in pastel, and you know, the thing is, if we get this on the pastel, then it would just be bad. So it's best with our hand at this point. You know, we're working in pastel. Gloves really are not a good idea when working in pastel, but great question. So you see, I'm just going to come over here. Now the trick with everything is never lose your drawing, right? When you lose your drawing, oh boy, that's really bad. So make sure you don't lose your drawing. So right now I'm making sure I maintain that beautiful hard edge. I'm going to do the same over here. So just the same thing, you know, as we always talk about, precision is everything when we're working in airbrush. The same thing with pastel, you know. So it's very important. Hey, nameless subscriber, how you doing? Great to see you. Oh, well, the thing is, that glove is definitely going to cause, all that pastel is going to get on that glove. That's going to be terrible. Then you'd have to go ahead and put the glove in the washing machine. And so right now we are just blocking in, right? This is not anything that's going to be there forever. This is just a block-in, so to speak. And remember that brown? We can extend that brown into the flesh over here. And we're just going to just sort of block this black in. We have that edge established, so we'll bring this up, Oh, Nameless just got off work and was able to start working on a t-shirt project. But what do you know? Time's on and I'll watch. Okay, cool. Cool. So, Chris, did you get to go to the Airbrush Circus? How was that, sir? And of course, we're going to do many layers of glazing. So just keep that in mind as we're working. We're just blocking in the large shapes. Keep that 1 second rule going. And looks like I overshot right here. We'll just get rid of that. Maybe a little more aggressive eraser. This knock eraser, which I love, we can just lighten that up. Okay. Right, so let's see who we got here. Oh, no comment. Uh-oh. Okay. JC says, Tim, don't mention glazing. Everyone will disappear like at work. Why is that? And let's bring this dark up here. And it's great because, you know, Rome isn't built in a day, so we're just taking our time. We're just making sure that I maintain my drawing. Maintain your drawing at all times. That's why we work so hard on the line drawing, work so hard on the India ink underpainting, so we could definitely enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? So we're just gonna build upon this. And two things I could do. I could start blending in that black. I might do that. That sounds like a good idea, but we have to be very careful when we do that. But, you know, now is always the time to work on it, you know? So I'm just, as you can see, I'm kind of twisting this packing peanut so it has a hard edge. And I'm going to be super precise, right? Super precise. See how I'm keeping that drawing, which is so important? These packing peanuts are free, so, you know, just pick up another one, right? Chris Garcia says where he was interested in learning their techniques, they were fascinating in the fact that I was from New York. helpful. So I'm very happy with that thus far. With pastel, we build up values very much like airbrush. You build it up slowly, but you have so much more freedom, and you don't have to worry about blue shift ever when it comes to working in pastel like you do in airbrush. Blue shift is a thing of the past when you embrace pastel. Harvey Dinnerstein, my teacher, mentor, just hero, he always said that when you're working in pastels, it's like working with an extension of your fingertips, and I believe him. And that is a way of thinking. Whoa, lost the pencil. Bring it back. Okay. So let's see here. JC says, is that a friend of yours? She's very pretty. Don't know her. She is gorgeous. JC also says, Tim, we may have to move our class to another day besides Friday because family's coming over from Chi-Town. Cool, we'll work that out, JC, definitely. When you take my class, my mentorship program, this is a case in point that I work around your schedule the best I can. So this way, you know, you don't have to travel, you don't have to get on the plane, you don't have to rent a hotel, you can stay home. You could do your life, you could work, and you know what? And when family functions come up, you can actually take the class because I'll work with you at a different time. My mentorship is the best value out there, without a doubt. I mean, there's other things out there, but they don't come close to the value that I bring. Number one, my art education. No one comes near it. Nobody. So taking my class is going to be beneficial for you. Plus, it's geared for grown-ups. You know, people who have jobs and family functions and other responsibilities and everything like that, that maybe they can't travel, but you still can continue learning and continue working on a regular basis. So I only have 5 more openings left, and now that I'm doing pastels, it's going to open up real fast. So if you're interested, just let me know, or go to inkflingers.com and you'll see mentorship program. And once I hit that, it's closed. That's it. You know, I don't care. You know, there's only so much workload I can do, so it's going to be closed and no one's leaving, so it's not high pressure sales, just letting you know. Now once the pastel people get wind of this, then that's going to close up real quick. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve. Yes, it's true, I don't sleep that much. Thank you, JC. I appreciate that, and Steve, I really appreciate that. And let's see. Thank you, Colette. I appreciate it. And oh, no, I definitely won't disturb Brad. He's a good guy. Brad's a good guy. I like Brad. Good student too. He's really starting to kick butt with his airbrush, and that's exciting. So that's one of the reasons why I love to teach, is to be a part of your growth as artists. and that's, to me, is very exciting. Now we're getting a nice, beautiful, as you can see, we're getting a nice, beautiful blocking of the hair. And what else it's doing is actually lightening up the skin on her, right? Because before it looked like her skin was pretty dark, but once we started putting in the hair, the darks of the hair, you can see that the skin sort of lightened up. Something amazing. Packing peanuts. They're cheap and they're effective. That's the best combination when it comes to art supplies. Let's not put money in corporations' pockets. They got enough. Alright, so since we're in the whole block-in mood, right? We're sort of block-in crazy, right? Let's see if we can... do I offer other than portraits? Not really. I'm really like your go-to guy, Chris, when it comes to portrait painting. Working with the figure, you know, not only just portraits with the figure. I'll do like the nude, the female nude, the male nude. But definitely I concentrate on that, you know. Nameless says, Tim, I expect you for that. Working around other people's schedules is tough. Would you include midnight, early AM sessions? Also, how much advance notice? Yes, so there is a Monday night where I do work late. So definitely would include that. If, you know, so, and I don't need notice, but yes, I do need a little bit of notice. Like, let's say if someone came to me and they said, can you do a class at 12 a.m.? I would definitely work around it. You know why I would do that? Because your education is important to me. You know, the student education is crucial to me, and that's why. So what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and get that kind of peachy color, right? So I'm not going to do it with pastel pencils because I think I would be there forever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my regular pastels. No, I guess because, you know, it's true. This is a pastel painting demonstration using pastel pencils. So I'm going to go ahead and do this all in pastel for you. So pastel pencils. So I'm looking at that, and that's sort of a really white kind of peachy kind of color. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for that light kind of peachy color, right? See if I have it. Do I have it? Maybe. Let's see. That's too... Okay, so let's see. So sometimes when you're doing something like that, you really have to ponder, right? You really have to... You have to think about it. Since white is the dominant color of that, I'm definitely going to use white to go ahead and start, you know, putting white on the surface of the background, and then from there I'll go ahead and put the lighter color. I'm just sharpening this pastel pencil. This is a different brand. It's Chinese white, and it's by Derwent. It's an English company, and I'm just going to cover this with white. Remember, when you're working in pastels, even though pastel is white, is dry, right? It still likes to sit on pastel. So if I was going to, let's say, put that perfect color and just put that on the surface, on dry, it just won't blend correctly. So it's always best to put pastel on pastel, a lot like doing wet on wet. If you want to master a technique, what you have to do is master the characteristics of such a technique, right? So again, I'm just going to cover this with the white pastel using pastel pencils, because I'm staying true to the whole thing that you can do whole paintings using pastel pencils. Now I'm gonna make sure I blow off the dust because I am on my drafting table. I don't want pastel all over. Hey Raoul, how's it going? Great to see you. Hey, what's up, Clutch? How's it going, Patrick? Thank you so much. Very much appreciated, sir. Thank you so much, JC. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's always great to see you, Raoul. And let's see. So we got Raoul from Jersey, and we have Mr. Clutch Pyro all the way from Massachusetts. So cool to see everybody. And Chris is from New York State. JC's from Georgia. So I'm just gonna, it's so funny, I have the white marble dust mixture, so it kind of feels like I'm not doing anything, but I know I am. And then I'm going to mix on the surface to get that kind of peachy beige color. I like this Chinese white. It's a little bit of an off-white, and that's really great. So, someone mentioned about pencil lines. Pencil lines come off. You don't have to worry about that. You know, we're doing many layers of pastel. Those pencil lines are inconsequential. And plus that we did the pencil lines and then working on the India ink. India ink, unlike acrylic, it will never trap pencil lines underneath it. I'm going to blow this off. Oh, Mike, how you doing? Good to see you. For the first half hour is just warming up anyway, Mike, so you didn't miss too much. Getting a nice, generous coat of the Chinese white here. So basically, so far, Mike, I just, was, blocking in the hair, the lights and the darks, the big shapes, and darkening that hair. We could see that her skin tone, which looked dark enough before, lightened up, and now we're going to work on the background. The reason why you want to work on the background and do the background the same color as the photo that you see is that's going to help us to gauge color, right? So is it warmer, is it colder than the background? Adjusting the background as we work further into the portrait, just to get it established, is really important. So I'm just going to make sure that I have this white pastel pretty much covered. Alright, so now I have that. So now the next plan is, it's like a beigey color, right? So I'm going to look for a beige type of color. So, if I don't see it here, then I'm going to move on over to my other pastel pencil collection. See what we got here, what we have here. We have, looks like it's kind of a deeper yellow than I want to go. but we'll keep looking. Oh, look at that. Another black. Keep that there. That's nice. That was a nice find. Inadvertently. Okay. So I'm looking for like some weird yellows. Trying to, you know, arrive at that beige color. And let's see if I come over here. I have some pastel colors here in pastel pencil form. So what I'm going to do is, it has a yellow tinge, so I'm going to look for a very neutralizing yellow. And maybe this yellow, although it does seem a little strong, I'm just going to very lightly do a glaze here with this yellow. Let me see if I can raise the saturation on the video for a moment. Just be one moment. Let's see. Okay, come over here. Let's see. Color and light. So I think I have to raise the saturation. Okay, that looks a little closer to what I have now. Yeah, much better. And maybe a little brighter. There we go. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay, that's a little bit closer to what I have, so I'll save it. Alright, good. So let's continue with this yellow. It's a little stronger than I want, but like I said, we're glazing, so I can glaze the color here and come in with that kind of rose color as well. So I'm just going to play with this, make sure I get a good coverage. So let's see. Okay, so a lot of work. Chris says, Tim, do you ever tried Airbrush Pastel collaboration piece? That's exactly what this is, sir. Good question, Chris. So basically, this is an Airbrush India ink underpainting with my Airbrush India inks, and now I'm going over it with pastel. So Airbrush has a very important part to my pastel painting technique. I also do straight pastel paintings, but with this you're able to get some of the beautiful precision and really great edges using the airbrush as the underpainting. So it's really cool. And let's see what here. Let's see if I missed anything. So once again, I appreciate that nice, very nice compliment, Mr. Patrick. Thank you. Just bringing this down. It's a pretty flat background, so I don't really have to worry about any gradation or anything like that. So after this, I'm going to come in with that rose color, and then I'll start blending it in. Right? So you see we have a nice, going to get nice coverage throughout. And we'll blow this off. Alright, so now comes the peach part of it, which the peach part is really pink. So we're looking for a kind of salmon-y color, and this one is by Pit Pastel, and it's 1122-189. So now we're going to see if my instincts were correct. I think they were. So you can see we're starting to arrive at said color. Take your time. There's absolutely no points for speed. I don't care about speed. If it happens fast naturally, it's all good, right? But never speed up for anything when it comes to this. Ah, wow, clutch. Thank you so much, Patrick. I really appreciate that, sir. Patrick with a $20 super sticker. Thank you, sir. That means a lot to me. Wow, I really appreciate that. So, you know, stuff like that, you know, buying my airbrushes and buying my inks and taking my classes and buying my artwork, you know, and, you know, great donations like that really help me to continue, right? Help me to continue doing this. Sometimes I feel like Gilligan on the island, you know, I'm sort of, you know, winging in a prayer it, but I do believe in what I'm doing, and I know I can really help out great artists like yourself really get to a level that you didn't dream of, and that's what it's all about for me. And thank you so much, Patrick. Definitely. So Patrick says this is what he does to keep the classes affordable. I really appreciate that. You guys are all amazing. So you see, I'm actually trying to get this to that peachy color, and that's going to help me gauge all the values and the temperature, because now we're working in color, right? So it's a little bit different. So, you know, if you go to, you guys are all, a lot of you are from my Wednesday night class, we're dealing in black and white, which is, you know, no less an art form, but this has new problems, new things we have to solve. So Mike Deloach says, Timothy, have you considered putting affiliate links in the videos? That way we could source the suggested materials. I definitely am going to do that, my friend. That would definitely help. So great suggestion, Mike. I appreciate that. I'm going to get on that. I'm like a one-man band, so you know, hopefully, you know, I should be getting around to that. I'm actually it's almost published. It is published, but it's not 100% operational. It is paintedglyphs.com. That was my old domain, and I kind of took it offline for a while, maybe like a year. And I took it offline because Ink Flingers came on, and Ink Flingers really concentrated on the airbrush. So now that I have paintedglyphs.com coming up, most likely tomorrow or Monday, it'll be fully operational with a blog and you know, all my older pastel paintings, my new pastel paintings, which is really cool, and that's exciting, you know. Oh, I need a Patrick says I need a video posse. That's cool. Thanks, that's a good idea. So you see right now I'm kind of arriving at this, and you know what, if I don't have it, then I just adjust. So I'm just going to take one of my packing peanuts, and we'll start up in this right hand corner, and let's see if we're arriving at, I think we're getting really close. So I'm going to actually lower the pressure that I'm putting on the surface, because I don't want to rub it off of the surface. I want to sort of keep that. So I'm actually very close to the value I'm looking for. Keep that edge, everybody. Keep your drawing. Your drawing is sacred. You never want to lose it. let's see how this goes. Blow that off. And you can see I'm getting very close. Let me darken this just a little bit. You can see I'm getting very close to that kind of pinkish value. And Clutch says, oh, JC, what's your art published on the Inkflingers page? Oh, cool, yes. Hey, Mr. David Lee Trevino, how are you, sir? Always a pleasure. I'm so glad you're here, sir. Oh, man, great to see you, sir. And we're just pulling this up. And let's see, we have, hey Patty, how you doing? So great to see you. I know you work such long hours. So glad you're here. Okay. Of course, we may need to darken that up a little bit. So I'm just going to look at the background in my reference. I use Pure Ref. I highly recommend it. I'm actually very close to that color. So, you know, a lot of people, it was funny, a lot of people was watching my live streams, and not you guys, but other people would say, oh yeah, Tim's really good, but he can't work in color. And I was just like really cracking up, you know. I was like, okay, I can't work in color, whatever. Been working in color a lot longer than they've been working in color, so I thought that was hilarious. It's just, for a while, I just stopped working in color for my own reasons. Okay, so you see we're just establishing that color. We'll get another packing peanut because they get overloaded, right? So that's, oh, I'm so glad you're here, Patty. You rock. So that's cool. So with your airbrush, Mr. David Lee Trevino, there's going to be some really nice surprises with that. So, so I want you to keep an eye on that when your package arrives. I always say I'm a really good friend, but I'm a terrible businessman. But that's okay. I like being good to you guys and girls. Okay, so you see now I just established it, and that's all I'm really doing is establishing that value. Just want to make sure. Now, I'm going to take a quick look on YouTube here, and I'm just going to check and see how that video is looking. So I may have to increase the saturation even more because I want to make sure that you guys are seeing the colors correctly. So I'm just going to come here. Okay, you're gonna hear me talk for a second. Okay, so that's not too bad. Maybe I could increase the red a little bit, so let's try that. I want this to be a good experience, so let's see. I'm gonna come here, and we'll do this again. Effects. Let's see. So I'm going to increase saturation a little bit more. Okay. And see if I can increase the contrast. Okay, maybe the contrast was too high. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let me see how it's looking. Okay, little bit better, little bit better. Good. Alright, as long as I improve it just a little bit, that's all good. Alright, fantastic. So let's go back to our regularly scheduled program. There we go. And oh yes, definitely, David, you're a great guy. So it's a real pleasure to know you and be your friend. So I just wanted to let you know that. And so I do see. So Mike Deloach said he had to flex. Let me see. What did Mike say? Oh yes, about the affiliate. Yes, definitely. Great recommendation, my friend. Okay, let's go ahead. Oh, definitely. So definitely gonna, once life gets easier, I'm definitely gonna be traveling and visiting everybody. No doubt about that. So now that I have the establish of the values that I like a little bit, now I'm gonna start darkening up some of her face, right? And one of the first things we can darken would be the shadow here, right? So if I'm looking there, it's kind of a brownish color. So I'm going to come in with this color. It's kind of a brownish orange color. It's 1122-187. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start glazing this. And you see how I increase and decrease the pressure of the pastel onto the surface. Lighter pressure means smaller amount of pastel. More pressure, of course, more pastel. And you see, just darkening that up. What I do on one eye, I'm going to do on the other. So I might do a little lighter pressure here. Here we go. So now you see I darkened the hair, I darkened the background slightly. So it's just natural that we have to darken other areas of this young lady here. Right over here, I'm going to add that dark. It's really a mid-tone, but it's going on the dark, but since it's a glaze, it's just going to shift the value just slightly, and then we'll come in and glaze a darker value over on top of that. Now, where else am I seeing this value, right? Those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. So I do see it over here, and I do see it over here as a mid-tone to this darker color. And we're going to come over here. Again, please take your time, assess what you're looking at. Now there's a lot less saturation over here, so I'm just going to lightly glaze because it's going to be very gray over here, right? So that's very important. Cool, yes, Georgia, definitely. That's great. And let's continue here. So notice that I'm working throughout the whole figure, right? I'm not going to just finish her head and then just say, okay, now I'll move on to here. No, I have to work out. So there's a pink shift over here to this value. So I'm coming in with this more pink color, which is 1122-189. Nice glaze over here. So I'm going to be very light pressure, and I'm just going to be lightening the forehead a little bit over here. I'm going to come in with this pinkish color. Got a little overzealous over there. So rather than go ahead and blend in something that's out of line, we're just going to tap it. We don't want to, if you ever put in, like, let's say too much of a color or a wrong color, I know it would be tempted, but don't under any circumstances blend it in. Just tap it out with a kneaded eraser. It'll be much better for your painting if you do that. I have a mid-tone gray, and I'm going to add this mid-tone gray. Just kind of kill the chromatic value of this kind of brownish color that I have. Plus I want to go a little darker with this gray, so I'm looking for one value darker of this gray. So let's see if I can find it here. Grays are crucial. You know, when if you're painting in pastel or painting in oils or, you know, airbrush or whatever, gray is so important because gray repeats itself in nature. And what gray is basically, you know, a low saturated color, and gray usually leans towards a color, so you could have a yellowy gray or a red gray or a purple gray or a greenish gray. So gray is almost like the chameleon of the color world. So think about that, you know. Very important. So I'm just going to continue looking for the gray. I'm going to put my grays aside of what we have, because I am needing a gray. So this one is this is a good gray right here, so keeping that in mind. So when you're working, I want you to take all your grays and separate them, because you will need those grays. And if you follow this live stream in pastel or take my classes, you're going to realize that you're going to need your grays. So let's see if I can show you. So these are my grays right now. So I'm going to be looking elsewhere for some more grays. So when I work in the regular pastel palette technique, when I do that, I have many grays, probably about 20 or 30 different grays. But let me come over here and see if I have any gray pastels, pastel pencils that I'm not using. Got some nice greens. Doesn't look good, guys. Doesn't look good. So we make do with what we have. Let's see. I'll come over here. Sometimes I have them over here. Alright, so what that means is we make do with what we have. Alright, so I have this darker gray right here, which is really nice, 1121273. And you can see I can pull this over, and I could also glaze very lightly with a, this is more of a brown, but it might work. So this is with credit color. This color is actually called Umbra, so it's a dark brownish color, but added that on top of this gray, we can actually hit that value. And what I see here is that this color is quite transparent, so I'll be able to get that with the lighter gray without the umber. But when it gets darker right here, that would work. And also we'll use this gray over here. And you see we're going to arrive at that color, so that's cool. My cat is having a fest. I gotta get her down. Be right back. Hey Suki, come on baby. No, you gotta get down. Okay, she's mad. Alright, so let's see. I'm gonna come in with this gray, which is 273. We're just gonna move this over. And over here, we're actually going to use this umber color. And we're just going to lightly glaze. I mean, just lightly touch the surface to bring this side plane a little bit down in value. Same thing over here. And then we'll come in with this color right here, which is 1122179. It's kind of like a raw sienna color, and kind of brings the saturation up a little bit so the colors aren't too dull. Actually, we have a very light brownish color right here, so I'm going to look for that, sort of a color that has a little more life to it than what we're using up here. So let us look for that. I think I found it. This one is 1122187. It's a little more saturation than what we have. So, and that's right here. So you see how we have a little more life to the color right here. And keep your 1 second rule. And again, we're going to come in with our darker color here, and then we're going to hit that with a little bit of that umber. This is by Cretacolor. Okay, so now we have this umber, and we could really start. So we want to have that separation. We want that chin to come forward, right? So we're just going to make sure that we establish this beautiful dark here. You know, hard and soft edges. You know, you all know it from my live streams when I'm doing my pastel portraits, right? The same here. And pull this over here. Bring that gray. So now let's see, before I go ahead and say, all right, let's go ahead and blend, we're going to just relax a little bit, and I'm just going to bring in some of this higher saturation color here. Bring this down. Bring some of this saturation right here at a cupid's bow or philtrum. Let's see if I missed any comments. Thank you so much, Mr. Lee Trevino. I appreciate that. Yeah, like at least 50 shades of gray. When it comes to pastel, it really is, when you're working in color, it really is advantageous because you're glazing, right? If I was like, you know, mixed or doing airbrush, 3 grades would be more than sufficient. But since we're working in glazes, we definitely need those colors, right? It's very important. Yes. Oh, the cat's back, huh? Oh my God. Now she's on my printer. You gotta get down, sweetie. Come on. See, this is her. See? What are you doing? Huh? You want some tuna? Yeah? Okay, later. Go ahead. Go play or something. Go get a mouse. Alright, so now we're just going to bring some more of that pinkish color into her face while we're here. Let's see. Where's that pinkish color? This is a little light, so I want something with a little more oomph, right? So we have 2. We have this one, which is 1122-132, 1122-131. This one has a little more of a darker value, so I'm just going to make sure I put this in a little bit. Then we can go ahead and put a little bit of that pink in here, right there. Little bit right here on her nose. 1 second rule, everybody. Just make sure that when you're putting in that color, that it's really there, right? And that's what I'm doing. Just making sure. And you see, once we darken one thing, everything else darkens, right? So it's so important. So Colette says, me too, but I always make sure it's a tad organized before I turn on the camera. Oh, yeah, well, the studio, right? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, she was, I don't know, I guess it's really hot here in New Jersey right now. Actually, it was 91 when it's at 82. So I think she just wants to be near the air conditioner. She's a smart cat. Alright, so now we're going to work on the darkest areas. So I'm just going to lightly blend with the packing peanuts. Again, when I go ahead and darken her eyebrows, all this is going to darken up. So I'm going to keep this for the darkest values to blend, right? And then I'm going to turn it over and use that for the lighter values. So right now, I'm just going to see how I'm sort of assimilating that, just sort of lightly tapping just to assimilate those colors together. And I'm going to adjust. There we go. Really concentrating. So you want a proper mix of the values, of not the values, but the different pastels, the different colors, and that's what I'm working on. I'm just going to use this just for the darks. Remember, these packing peanuts are very inexpensive, so just go ahead and chuck them once you use them for what you want. There we go, and then over here in this corner. So don't be afraid to go ahead and twist it and make it a tight little area. One of the things, you don't want to accidentally blend the skin and the hair together. It's just messy, and it's just going to hurt the integrity of the colors and mess with your edges. So just be careful. Take your time at this stage. There's no rush whatsoever. We're going to work on this beautiful edge under her chin and jaw here. See how we can accentuate that. She could have been, although I don't know if we have mice. I don't think so. Oh man, one time I lived in this one house years ago, and there was no sign of mice during the whole summer we were there. And then all of a sudden it got cold in October and we saw one mouse, and then little by little there were more and more mice to the point where we had to move. It was like the mouse hotel, but they were checking in and checking out, and they had no problems, and they were kind of running the place, and then we moved. And this was way back in like 2004 or something like that. Okay, so you see how I went ahead and blended that? Now I'm doing the mid-tone and sort of blending that together, and let's continue with that mid-tone. Patrick says it's amazing what the guacamole Cheetos. That's what he calls the packing peanuts. That's really funny, sir. Please be careful that you do not blend in that dark of the hair, okay? That's going to be, I can't stress it enough. So even if I do it accidentally, that's still like very detrimental to the painting. I need more of those guacamole Cheetos. Let's see. Okay, got them. Let's go ahead and put them over here. That's too many, but what are you going to do? But I'm definitely going to give you guys more than an hour, because right now it's an hour. Oh wow, just a torta with aguacate. That's very cool. That's delicious. Kamikaze Kitty. She's back. She's just in a very terrorized Tim mood, I guess. Okay, so back to our midtone. See how I'm kind of just tapping that in, right? Plenty of time. So it's not like we're doing anything. This is how it's going to look at the end. This is how it looks at this stage. And remember, we're playing chess, not checkers, so it's all building. Building, building, building. So don't get overwhelmed like, oh, this doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. No, that's not how we work. Basically, we stick with the program. If it's too dark, we lighten it. If it's too light, we darken it. If there's not enough saturation, we add color. But no way are we getting hung up on that, right? No emotional decisions, just taking our time, right? This is the lighter midtones we're hitting. So, as you can see, just darkening this up. So we're going to go back here with this darker value. And I'm going to make sure that I do not blend the edges, keeping them separate. Back to our midtones. So with this surface of the marble dust and the gesso in the water, I'm able to create a surface where I can do unlimited layers. So I don't have to worry about this filling up. Those of you who worked in pastel, like Pastel Matte and all the other, they're really good for what they are, but they don't come close to what I have. Of course, I've been doing pastels for a very, very long time. So you're looking at somebody with, you know, like 30-something years of experience. I would say 30 years of experience. I've been doing pastels since I was 15 years old. So 30 years of experience. No longer than that. I don't want to do the math. Then I'm going to feel old. Okay, look at that beautiful edge that I'm getting, everybody. Nice edges make me happy. So, and right now we're just establishing color. This is a soft edge over here, but let's enforce some of this, reinforce some of these edges over here. Okay. So I wouldn't be twisting things around like this, but if it was on the easel, of course. But I'm working working vertically. So is it vertically? Vertical? No, I'm working horizontal on a table, so it adds a little bit of issues. So I'm kind of solving that. So let's see what we have here. Any questions? Oh, Patty, have a great night, Patty. Always a pleasure. So cool that you're here, and don't work too hard, okay? Oh, yeah, I'm giving you guys more time, definitely. Even though I have a website to continue fixing. Actually, my website is going to be up this weekend. So I've been like really swamped with the website and commissions, and so it's been a crazy Saturday. Kind of one of those Saturdays that get away from you. So, but I'm definitely going to give you all more time here. You know, I would love for the airbrush artists out there to give pastels a try, honestly, because I know you'll love it. I know it. That's all that's to it. I know you would just freak out and love it. So I'm just going to come in a little bit with this peachy color again, just to pull out that color of the background, because I need that color of the background to gauge the values here. So it's not like I want to put in the background for any other reason. I'm putting it in because I need that to see the proper color relationships. So that's why I'm coming a little bit stronger with the color of the background. So the techniques that you see, the way I work in pastel, that's exactly, you know, how I would apply color when I was working at the National Academy School of Fine Arts with the late Harvey Dinnerstein. Oops, see that? Overzealous. I don't want to blend that in. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap and get rid of it. It was last century. Oh, that doesn't make me feel all that much better there, Mike. That's funny. Nameless says, Mike, how long do you tag someone's name like that? Adding the @ doesn't seem. Oh, that's a good question. I like to do that too. Yeah, how do you do that, Mike? Making this a little more pinker. The color I'm using to make it a little more pinker is 1122-131. And this video was brought to you by H2O, water. So, actually, just hydrogen and oxygen, not a company. So let me go ahead and drink some water. Oh boy, that's good. All right, so let's continue. Went down the wrong pipe. Just bringing this over. And with this technique, you see that the surface will show up like when you're working in pastel, but as we glaze and blend in, what's going to happen is that the texture is not going to be intrusive, but it's going to give her flesh this beautiful skin texture. It's just going to be really nice. Alright, so see if we can blend that just a tad. Getting close to that value that I wanted. The pinkish color. So you see how I arrive at the color. I don't try and mix it. That's a kind of a phenomenon I see other artists use. It's not wrong or bad, or it's just a valid way of doing it. Of mixing the color and applying it. But I sort of arrive at that color because you can ask yourself: is it warmer or is it cooler? Is it more saturated? Is it less saturated? All those different things will eventually kind of point you in the right direction. Go. Okay, so we're getting closer to the value that we want in the background, but we're not in a hurry. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue what we were doing, which is darkening the painting as a whole, right? So we have this wonderful shoulder area of her, so we're going to pretty much stick with the same colors that we're using over here. So once again, I'm going to come in with this color 187, and I'm just going to very lightly and ask myself, like, what value is this close to? Is it close to this value? Not really. It's a little bit lighter, so it's kind of closer to this value. So this is where you can start, you know, gauging your values, and it's a little more of a transparent. So I'm going to put a light gray. So I'm going to look for my grays, probably this one right here, and actually this gray I like here. So let's see if we could add that to this color to get a nice transparent shadow here. This way you can see what I'm doing. Over here it is a little bit lighter, so we're going to look for a color that is just a slight bit lighter. This guy, remember this one, which was 1122179, and we'll use that over here on this shoulder. Actually, that's too dark. Let's go with a much lighter color, and a fleshy color at that. So I'm going to glaze this color, which is a lighter value. It is 182. It's more of a yellowish color, but it has a lot of red in it, so we're going to come in with that kind of darker fleshy color as well. Same thing over here, kind of this fleshy color, and we're going to glaze that with this light yellowish color here. So you see, we're kind of working on that shoulder, making that shoulder round. It's so important, but also doing the 1 second rule, so we can, now here it's very interesting. That's almost a pure gray right here. See this, as this comes down, it's just like almost a pure gray. So we're going to put that gray there, and then we're going to use that light fleshy color over here. That's even lighter we can go. So that would be this one, 132, and let's establish some of that lighter fleshy color. Cat's back on the thing, one moment, get down. See, now she knows. I just have to look at her and she takes off. See, she's complaining. Sorry, kitty. Okay. It's going to glaze this kind of light fleshy color. And you can see how hard we worked on an underpainting and how it's paying off, right? We can see all that information that we put in with the underpainting. So that's a feather in the cap for this technique. And we'll come back in with this flesh color here. So, you know, you got to realize that, you know, white you should be using as sparingly as blue. Mosquito. It's like wild America here in my apartment. And right here with, actually it'd be a good time to come in with that white that we had and kind of glaze in the white on her ear. Remember, pastel likes pastel, so you want to paint on pastel. You don't want to paint on board that doesn't have pastel on it. So it's always good to, you know, do some pastel on there, so you have that kind of pastel on pastel. It's much more fluid. There we go. All right, so now we can come in with our packing peanuts, and we could start, oh, again, like in here, we can come in with the white pastel over here. Let's see, we'll just come in with the Pitt white pastel. Kind of create, see, in pastels you don't have to worry about blue shift. That's a thing of the past. Isn't that wonderful, everybody? So that nasty blue shift that sort of is that specter that's looking over every airbrush artist, you don't have to worry about it here. So let's see what I missed. Nameless subscriber at Tim, unless I'm mistaken, you use green for the right side of the face. Why does that undercolor work so well for skin? It seems counterproductive. It really does, because when we're looking at the face, right, when we're really seeing the face, we get the full spectrum, and you'll have your greens, your blues, your purples, your reds, your oranges. They're all going to be present. And when you're working in this glazing kind of method, you're able to kind of find those colors and add a little bit of green in one area, add a little bit of red. That's why working in this method of kind of arriving at the color is so much better than just trying to mix it, put it down, mix it, put it down. This is a much more, it's much more exact when you arrive, but in the beginning it doesn't look right. But who cares how it looks in the beginning, right? So now I went ahead and did this. So now I'm going to start blending in the darker areas first. Whoops, come over here. And let's see if there's any. Hey Matt, how you doing? Great to see you, sir. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. Oh my God! So Clutch says he has mosquitoes by him. Oh man, I live between a river. I keep saying we. I live with myself. I live between a river and a lake. So it is mosquito heaven here, and hell for everyone else, you know. Mike says we import them from Florida. Mosquitoes are the state bird. That's pretty funny. And Mike DeLoach says using green is skipping a step and starting with a secondary color. Well, that's the thing, you know. It's for me. And the way I teach, that's why I teach, when I teach my students, it's always important that they start in black and white, right? Because then they get an idea of the values and the edge work and the grays and the different grays that we use for flesh. And then when we move into color, we can actually not worry about the edges, not worry about the drawing aspect and everything, and then we could really just concentrate on seeing color, right? So there, I'm just going to erase this. That's the great thing about this technique. If you do make a mistake, it's probably the most forgiving technique in the world. Pastel, the most forgiving medium ever. Go. New pastel peanut, guacamole Cheeto. There we go. And so we're going to resaturate that color over there. Now, what we're going to do, remember I put some white here, so I'm just going to kind of glaze that white over the light areas, and then glaze that white over the midtones as well. We will arrive at a really wonderful surface texture, and that's really important to know that you're going to get there. But right now, if it's not this perfect blend, don't worry about it, because we're getting there, and we don't have to force it. Just like the color, you want to arrive at it, right? You want to arrive at that surface texture. There we go. And now we'll go ahead and work on the darker tones. So what this is doing is just sort of assimilating the texture, making the values and edges much more pleasing, and then we can build on that. Now, if you do see where maybe this one area is just a little dark, and you can just tap it very lightly to even that out. And then we'll take another packing peanut, yet another one, and we'll blend in her lips here. Now, in your work area, you can be inundated with pastel pencils. Just every now and then, just reorganize everything so it's not like it's getting in the way. They are getting in the way. There we go. So you see, we definitely have to come in a little bit deeper with, you know, layers and layers of pastel, but we are getting there. And again, so what I can do with another packing peanut, I'm going to come in and start working on this hair value over here, bringing this down. Then over here on this side, and then over here. Thank goodness these packing peanuts are almost free. So yes, I am quicker in black and white pastel. I'm quicker in pastel and color than I am black and white in airbrush. So that's cool. So right now it is 9:30, so that's an hour and a half. So I gave you guys and girls an extra half hour. So I just, so here we are. As you can see, we're working on the background, getting that established. Let me see if I could show you with a different camera. Maybe it's going to be a little bit more clear. Let's see. So that's where we are right now, right? That's where the young lady is. And we're getting there, you know, we're not in a rush. And so it's basically working one layer and another layer and just keep going until you get there. That's basically what it's all about. So everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. And Mr. Patrick, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All that really. Thank you, Colette and everybody. JC and Mike and you know, Steve. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. All the way from the UK. You guys and girls are all just so fantastic. I'm really just so happy to hang out with you. Let me see. So Mike says, I got to cut out early. Look for a private message. Definitely. I definitely will. And so, guys, have a great weekend, Matt, and everyone who came by. You guys and girls are all so amazing. You make my Saturday. And also don't forget, Wednesday 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do part 5 of the portrait of Miss Raquel. So take care, everybody. Nameless subscriber, everybody. You all are the best.